All right, what we have here is the headlight on the passenger side of a 2008 Cadillac Escalade. I figured I'd go ahead and do a video because, we ain't all got money to go spend $500 to $1,000 on another headlight. So I already took the headlight out, as you can see. So I'm gonna give you a brief overview of what I did real quick, so catch up. It's not hard, it's real simple to learn. I went to AutoZone and I bought some black adhesive sealants. Probably see it through the plastic. Now, before I put the adhesive on there, I took a hot blow dryer. I took my daughter's blow dryer, and I went in and I took all the bulbs out. You got to take the top bulb out right here. You got to take this out. This isn't really nothing. It's a bulb, but it's not a bulb. It don't do nothing with the truck. And you got to take out. This is your main light down here. This is your Xenon HID light. Cover to it looks just like this, but I got my screws in there, so I don't want to take it out. And you just pop it off with a flathead screwdriver. What I did is, this is the new wiring harness that I took out because the old one, there was so much water in there, it got corroded. I tried to clean it off, but once you're doing this type of stuff, you don't want to put nothing old back in there, so you might as well just buy the part. So what I did is I took the blow dryer. I don't know why I keep saying hot. I took the blow dryer and I took it and I put it up here. And I just turned it on high and I blew there was a lot of water in there. I blew all the water out until it was completely dry, and I brought it down here and I turned it on. I didn't really turn it on high and put it in there. I kind of put it back at a distance because you don't want to melt nothing that goes up in there. It's like real sensitive with the ballast and the HID light and all that. You know if you know. This right here is the new wiring connector for the connection to the HID bulb. I got it on eBay and I looked up the kit for 08 Escalade, and they sent me, it's about $30. They sent me a brand new light. They sent me the ballast, and they sent me the wiring kit. I wasn't gonna get it, but my first mind told me to do it. Thank God I did. So I already went inside and got some real good wire cutters. I cut the wires and I stripped them. You can get these at AutoZone or Walmart or wherever. They're real cheap. All this stuff don't cost no more than about $20. So some of it I already had. But I took it, I cut the wires, I stripped it after I took it off. And I stripped the ones, obviously, that I'm gonna connect it with. And before I got that far ahead, I know I'm talking backwards, so excuse me. I took this black, like I said, I went to AutoZone, spent like $10. This black adhesive sealant. There you go, look a lot better. And I didn't want to take the whole black bezel off because I was scared to break anything. You ain't trying to spend all that money buying a new headlight. So I took the adhesive. You got to take some scissors and cut the top off a little bit so you can have enough to come out where to fill it. And I just went wherever the plastic was, the black plastic. My friend of mine told me wherever the light, this part right here, meets the black plastic. So I just went kind of crazy. I did all around here, basically wherever I thought. The guy that sold me the truck broke this piece right here and didn't tell me, and that's the reason why I was getting so much water in there. So I just went all the way around. I went on the inside, as you can see, it's black, so you gotta look real good. And I went on the inside of the light. Can't really tell that much because it's black. That's what I loved about it. I don't know if clear would have made a difference, but I went all the way around it. Got all up in there. I'm gonna clean that up just a little bit, but it don't matter. So what you're pretty much looking at is a job that somebody probably, if you wasn't gonna do it yourself, you probably would end up spending about $800 to $1,000 just because it's an Escalade. But you take that sealant and you just go all the way around. Try not to really do too much, overdo it. You got these tabs on here and all that. This truck real sensitive. It's an electrical issue and all of that, but you just go all the way around. Seal it all the way around. Hope you can see it. Like I said, first time ever doing a video. Just did it because you never know, somebody else may be in the same position. And you just seal it. It's kind of common sense. You want to make sure nothing gets in there So you seal it up the best way you can. Wherever you see the black plastic at, where a gap is, seal it up. Obviously, don't go crazy because you don't want to spend $500 to $600 to $1,000. I mean, a lot of times you can go on eBay and just buy this light, but like I said, between $400 to $600 up to $1,000 if you go to the dealer, who got that kind of money? And that's just what I did. After I put the adhesive on there, I went and sat it on this bag right here, and I let it sit probably for about 6 to 8 hours. Because of that kind of adhesive that it is, it doesn't take that long to dry, but I sat it downstairs where a heater was, I let it dry, and I just brought it back up here. Like I said, I'm about to get something to wipe that part out. You can see just how corroded it was. I threw the old part out so I can't show you, but you can see just how bad. There was so much water in there, it was so corroded. So I'm gonna get some alcohol and some Q-tips or something like that and get in there and just wipe that down real good, because I got a brand new one right here. And you don't want no bad connection. You don't want to have to do this job again. It's not really a hard job if you got common sense, but if you're not into this kind of stuff, then I wouldn't advise you to do it. I mean, there's nothing really hard about connecting wires, you know. The yellow is obviously gonna go with the red. Take it, you twist it, tie it together. Then you take the black electrical tape and you wrap it around it. I'm telling you because I'm not going to show you while I'm doing it. I could try to prop the phone up and see if you could just see it while I was doing it, but like I said, just take it and tie it, twist it together, tie it real good. Then you take the black goes with black obviously, and you tie it and you twist it together. And then once you do that, I'm going to sit it back up in there gently. Now this goes in here this way. This part has to be facing you. And you just, I don't know, I was kind of thinking about putting some type of glue or adhesive down, because with these things are so sensitive. Like I said, the reason why I replaced it is because it gets loose very quick. And you got to take the flathead screwdriver to pop it out, which was almost a pain because you just worried about breaking stuff, you know. But it's got to go in facing you. This part has to be facing you, and it shouldn't be complicated. I'll probably lay it down and just slide it on in there, but I'm gonna clean it up first. And then once you do all of your connections and you get it together, which, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. But if you could do something simple like tie the wiring together and make sure it's tied real good, and then you got to make sure you put the black electrical tape over it, or I don't know what it's gonna do, but that's just what you're supposed to do when you're playing with this kind of wiring. And you just tie it together. You twist it, you tie it together. Let me see if I could. Just tie it together. You twist it. It's not hard. You learned it in school. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. But you go ahead, you tie it, twist it together, you put it back together, and then once I get all this back into place, there's nothing that you have to do to set it in here any kind of way. You just push it up in there. I try to cut it as close to the old wiring as I could because I wanted to leave myself some slack just in case I had to get some finger room, because there's not a lot of space in there to move around. So, you know, you leave yourself some slack. Cut it close to the old piece as you can. This is the old piece right here. Like I said, you see, I cut it real close, so that left me with a lot of room. You see how bad the old piece was. Look how corroded that is. I mean, it don't look as bad because I took a Q-tip and the alcohol and tried to clean it, but look at that. You know, common sense say don't put that back over there like that. And it's not a hard job to do. Simple tools. Simple tools to get it done. Not complicated, but if you don't know what you're doing, man, don't do it to yourself, because you're going to be spending anywhere from $400 to $1,000, because you're going to have to pay somebody to take your front bumper off and everything. And it's a headache if you don't got the patience and don't know what you're doing. So I don't advise you to mess with it if you don't got the money and don't know what you're doing. But other than that, once I get this all connected and get it back in there, I'm just going to take this HID light out of here and connect it back into this piece, because this is the original piece that it looks like when it's all put together. And this is where you put the light in at. Take it out. I wanted to show you what the bulb looked like. Sorry about that, hold on. Gotta be careful with these things because they are really expensive. If I hadn't ordered this on eBay, it'd have been like $100, but this is the piece that goes right here. You just plug it into that right there, and that's where they connect that. You put this back in there. So like I said, these things is expensive and they're sensitive. If you don't want that problem, trust me, I'll put it all back in there the way I took it out too. And Don't play with it. Oops. All right. And then after you do that, hold on, let me show you. Lay this down. Once that piece goes in there, it's gonna hang out the bottom like that. It's gonna look like, well, if you put it in there correctly, yep. It's gonna look like that once it gets back up in there. See, it fits perfectly. And then once you get that back in there correctly, this right here is the ballast. You got a lot of people, they don't really like messing with this, you know, electrical when you're dealing with the Escalade. And there really do be a lot of electrical issues, but once you get that back on there, get everything solid on there correctly, you just put this on to this piece right here. Slides right on there. You gotta take your time. Don't jam it on there because it's very easy to break this. So take your time putting it on there. Don't jam it on there. It slides on there real gentle. That's how it looks. Like I said, call me a rookie or whatever. This is my first time. I'm just trying to help the next person. But this is the last piece that goes on. And I got this right here. It's supposed to have 4 screws, but mine's only had 3. This is the original tool that you're gonna need to take the original pieces off. I think it's called a star tool. I forgot exactly what it's called, but if you go to AutoZone, you know, this what it look like. I forgot what size it is because I threw the piece away that I had, but don't judge me. I'm just trying to help y'all out a little bit. And that's pretty much about it. Once you get those pieces back in there and get them back together, like I said, this is going to be where you're going to finish at because this is going to be hanging out like that, and it's going to come in from the top and be sitting there. You'll understand. If you know what you're doing, do it. If you don't touch it. And once you put your ballast back on there and screw it in, you see the 3 spots right here where the screw goes in. You just put it all back together and you take it out there. You're going to need a ratchet. You don't really need a 1/2-inch drive for the headlight up here. 10 millimeters, about 2 tabs, so it's 2 screws. And I didn't take the entire bumper off. What I did is I just took my time and slid it on out. If you don't know what you're doing, then don't do it, but that's what I did. And I got it out, and I ain't have to go through all that trouble. I mean, you're trying to save yourself a couple, maybe up to $1,000 or more doing this job and this light, take your time and do it. If not, then find somebody that will. Other than that, I hope I helped whoever knows what they're doing, because this could look complicated to another person, but it really is not. Just take your time and do it. A lot of this stuff is common sense when you're working on certain vehicles. Now, if this was a Tesla, I wouldn't tell you to be in here messing with that, because I don't know nothing with Tesla. And I'm not really no mechanic. I'm just trying to save myself a couple dollars. Sometimes this stuff is just simple common sense. All right. If you like it, push the like button, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, I hope I helped somebody out. Thank you and God bless.